There we go. Well, at least we had some backstage behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, we weren't doing any of that. Am I the only one? Can't hear. Well, I think we're all good now. I would hope. Anybody out there in YouTube land, you could do this all over again. But we do have the podcast already recorded. So, oh yeah, no, I'm good. I had it on mute. Okay. I had my own mic muted because I'm a schmuck, and that's what we do around these parts.
Run it back.
Kyle's back. I guess run it back. No, I got the podcast already in the can. I'm not. What am I running that back for?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no.
Right.
Then
so
don't run it back.
I will not be running it back. So anyway, welcome again to those who are finally hearing my majestic voice here. It is Sturch Gooch. I have Amber here. She is in studio right now. Amber, you can we have a mic for her if she wanted to turn her up and get her involved. But if she wants, that's up to her. But she's going to be heading our PR, marketing,
social
media. Yes, a lot of that stuff. She is a guru at that stuff. And I've known Amber a long time. You know, it's funny, Amber, as I look off to you and not to the camera. But last time it was December 5th or 6th, came up on my Facebook memories. Me and you at Big Shots, and we were doing the Hurricane Sandy relief thing. It was right before one of my big matches, and I have a picture of us. And you've grown since then. Definitely physically taller, right? You're a lot taller than what you used to be. No, she's always been a little person. But anyway, Amber's here. She's helping out. The Pick Bish was here for a second. Our assistant producer told me there was no sound, so she came running in. So thank you for that, because I wasn't even looking at the comments. But anyway, we got a loaded show. There's a lot to talk about. And of course, also, I will shout out the fact that Ashmere Fit is in Studio B right now. So there's loaded here. There's a lot of women in this place, a lot of estrogen around these parts. We need a little bit more testosterone. So somebody show up. Joe Pizzamenti, if you're out there, show up. Your door's unlocked. We're in there trying to fix your lights. Lots going on. But listen, I started last night, or ended last night, with me losing money via the sauce. Not his fault. I decided to parlay my own stuff and sprinkle in his. And he told me, once upon a time, no parlays, Dave. And I'm like, I know I won't. I'll never do it again.
And then I gave you the theory this morning. When I walked in, I said, so wait, you put in a parlay.
Right.
One of your bets lost, but two of them hit, and you lost money. So you went 2 for 3.
Yeah.
And you lost money. That's case in point. Don't parlay.
Yeah. Well, listen, it is what it is. But you know what? I blame, first of all, I blame the Pelicans. They went to overtime, lost. That was in his parlay, his VIP list parlay.
So it was the Pelicans. Who did the Pelicans play? I think you had it wrong. You said the Hornets and Sixers. Did he fade the Sixers yesterday? Because I didn't.
No, definitely not. But
because I've been riding the Sixers with Kyle.
But in his parlay, right? In his parlay, he had him as money line. But as a straight bet, he actually bet him -6, and we didn't cover that one. Okay. So we did not do that one. However, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm about to fall asleep. I'm going to be a real degenerate here and put in a parlay and not even know what happens until the morning. So then I actually put it up. And okay, thanks, Scoop, for the have a decent amount of estrogen. That's appreciated. Shout out to Scoop Espo, by the way, as we're about to plug some podcasts. But first, I wanted to tell you guys that I bet and I kind of put it away, Gooch, like you did. Like I'll leave it away. I felt like a complete bag of shit last night when I was like, I'm not even gonna watch. I'm just gonna wake up and there's gonna be money piling into my account. Lost that one too. Why? Your boy, Gooch. Your boy, Mr. 3-point or bust, Steph Curry. Okay, they couldn't cover a measly 13.5 points. I had them at -13.5.
I actually bet Golden State at 14.5, and I didn't
win that one.
So we both lost money on my boy, but at the same time, he's like 8 threes away or 9
threes away from the record of Ray Allen. So he
might get that in his next game. I don't.
We're on Pelicans lost to the Nuggets. Yeah, so we bet the Pelicans and lost on that one in overtime. They were up by 6 at one point in the fourth quarter, and I was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna coast. This is gonna be great. Big Bish coming back in. That's good. But anyway, so are we actually coming back in? We're bringing your chair and all that. The throne. It is loud. So pick it up. Lift some weights today. But anyway, back to, so I lost my bet last night. That's how I ended last night. But we did have a very productive day from a podcast standpoint and what we got going on coming in 2022. We're going to start the year off hot. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening in 2022 as far as on a podcast front. Right now, we already produce 12 shows. That's right, 12. 1, 2, 12. That's a lot of shows, right? So what better way to, I complained to you yesterday that I was 4 o'clock and I put my head back for a half a second. And then
add more.
I jolted. I was like, I'm at work. I fell asleep. But yeah, we're adding more podcasts. And first, the want and the need and the desire and the bloodthirsty fans of the sport of professional hockey, you will be getting a podcast.
I thought you were about to go into the pro wrestling one.
No, we'll get to that in a second.
Isn't that what did Bobby Fitz call it this morning?
Don't get me started. We'll talk about that for a second after I plug this new hockey podcast. And I was so excited because look, the New York Rangers were hot. We're red hot. We're the best team in the league. Blah, 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 when we're not. And then we get starched last night. Completely, absolutely beaten to our I can't even describe it. It was bad. 7-3. So they almost, a touchdown, they would have been right back in it, right?
So I was right. The Rangers are now done.
Yeah.
It's officially over for you New York
over.
Ranger fans.
Yes.
You had a good run.
100%. We're screwed. But anyway, yes, the Rangers lost. And shout out to the New Jersey Devils, by the way. Have you seen, I know you don't watch hockey.
No, I
have you seen their new third jersey?
No.
Okay. You want to know what it looks like and what it says? I can paint a vivid picture for you. It's a sweater like everybody else. We wear sweaters in hockey, right? And it just says Jersey on it in script. By the way, not even taught in schools anymore.
I actually like that.
A lot of people are down for it, and I'm just like, that's
I gotta see the font. I gotta see a lot
it's
of
like
else
cursive.
what's happening
It's
to
basic
it.
cursive. Well, that's the thing. What was mocked right away was that their next hat just said hat, like on the top of the hat, which was like, that's really funny. But maybe some of these Devils fans like it. I don't know. They don't even teach script anymore, cursive anymore in the schools. They don't. So you know why? And you know why? This is my theory. You want a conspiracy theory? Why do you think they don't teach cursive anymore?
Because nobody uses it.
Well, no, I got a theory. This is going to be like deep, dark web theory right here. Okay. Dark portal.
Now dark arts. Keep going.
Right. The reason why, I firmly believe this. I came up with this. I've never read it. I just thought about it one day during the election season. I said to myself, I said, look, the reason why that schools don't teach cursive anymore is because they don't want to give the new generation of kids the ability to read the Declaration of Independence because it's in cursive. So bang, theory. There it is. The kids will never learn. It's unfortunate. They'll be taught something else.
Here's the thing. And now I do not mean to debunk your theory here, but as a kind of a history buff, the Declaration of Independence is largely just a figurehead piece of paper. It's
Nicolas Cage stole that bitch.
It's basically when it's not a Bill of Rights. It's not the Constitution. Like there's nothing.
But I guarantee that's all unscripted.
There's nothing based off of that. That was essentially just us announcing, look, we're a country now. That's it. So it's like, yeah, kids, you're not allowed to read that.
Nope. I mean, you'll never know where you came from.
That's definitely not it. If they had the Constitution in all weird Braille cursive, then I would be like, Dave, you might be onto something. Nobody knows the law anymore.
Deep dive.
No, they teach this
deep dive, dark web type shit right there. It's completely false. I'm completely joking. But that did come out of my mouth, not only today, but like in a past conversation. I was like, you know what? They just don't want these kids to know about their history. They just want to teach them now, and have everybody flip out. But anyway, new podcast, hockey, coming at you in 2022. We talked to a guy yesterday, friend of Steve Aspara, our responsible man for www.chopsportsmedia.com. The guy who built our website. His friend is going to be hosting a hockey website. Podcast, that too. All right. So now another one I'll kind of throw at you. They're going to make their own formal announcement. All-Star Vintage, two guys that I went to high school with. They're a little younger than me, Mark Jamison, Dom Morrow. Both of those guys have been doing this podcast. They're Jets heavy. I wouldn't say it's a Jets podcast, but it's more for like old school sports, pop culture, shit like that. Something we really don't have on our network. We really don't. When I listened to their podcast and I realized how fun it was, and they got these.
So they're already up and running.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, they got a nice little following. Yeah. It's nothing from the ground up. It's not a cross court cast or not a hockey podcast or nothing that we have to build from the ground up.
I'm actually learning this as the people are. We have talked very briefly about it, but there's so much happening that I don't mean this in the wrong way. A lot of times my mind isn't even paying attention to what's happening around me. And you have brought this up, but
you're worse than a girl sometimes when it comes to no text backsies. Like I text you at like 10:30 and I won't hear from you until I walk through the door. You're like, what's up, buddy?
How bad was it when I accidentally had my Reds on? And like the very beginning of the whole Chop Sports thing where I didn't realize I had my Reds on and I would still do the same shit. So you'd be like, dude,
just ignoring me.
You're ignoring me.
At this point, you're just like,
that you read it.
F this guy.
Yeah, it's not that. It's more like a mental thing for me. I shut down at a certain point.
Do you know there's a new thing, according to sources, that you can silence notification. It's something different. It's
yeah. Because every single time I text Ash, it says silent notifications, and somehow.
And it's like, but then it reminds you, like, do you want to tell her anyway? What do you mean? Well, yes.
Yeah, it's like, well,
send,
I did send the text, right. Notify anyway, absolutely.
Notify anyway. That's right? What.
Yeah, but typically it's like when she's at work, she'll do that. I don't even know if you turn that on. I think
I have my phone on silent for the last 15 years of my life.
Yeah, I have my phone on silent because I think that's just the way to go at this point.
I think so.
But I don't think that you turn on that silent your notifications. I think that it knows if you're working. Is that weird? Is this something that I'm making up?
The technology is just.
All right, so I think that's what
scares the crap
it is on hers, because when I said it to her, I said, you have me silenced, and she says, "Oh, you see that?" I was like, "Oh, are you trying to like low key?"
Anyway, but yesterday we were talking like this is where technology really screws me up. Like, we're talking to Amber when she was here yesterday with the meeting. Right, we're hanging out with her in the lobby, and we're talking about different streaming services. I go on Facebook. 5 minutes later, I'm scrolling, and one of the paid ads is a stream service, and I'm like, "Stop." Right there. Like, stop this nuts. New thing called Focus, according to Scoop. I don't know what that means, but again, I'm behind the times. Anyway, All-Star Vintage coming in 2022. They're wrapping up their second season. They do seasons. So they're wrapping up their second season. Third season, they're going to be coming on with us. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the third season they're wrapping up and they're doing the fourth. Regardless, both of those guys are coming on board. I'm very excited about it. And now the grand finale. And for all those actual bloodthirsty professional wrestling fans out there, including myself, because once upon a time I did the whole wear spandex and boots thing, right? So pro wrestling podcast coming to the Chop Sports Network. However, different kind of feel. It's a different kind of thing. The Chop Heads MMA podcast is not going anywhere. They did not put out a episode this week. And there's a big fight card this week in which we're going to be talking about right here on the podcast. But the Chop Heads MMA will now be the Chop Heads Combat Sports. So Chop Heads is going to cover it all. It's going to cover MMA, it's going to cover boxing, and professional wrestling. Because believe it or not, professional wrestling, as scripted as it is a combat sport. You hit each other, right? Or you hit each other. You hit each other.
The beauty of this is it keeps Tommy in the fold, right?
Yes.
It takes a lot of pressure off of us as far as finding content for MMA days that there just isn't any. There's one big fight a month, and you know me. I love MMA. I'm all about the history of it and the rules and the styles, how they make fights. But I just simply do not give a shit about anything except a big fight, especially with how busy I am. So it takes some of the pressure off. Tommy right now is away out at work. He's gone for like the better part of the next 3 months.
Let's just be honest. Let's call it how it is. He's in jail. He's in jail.
Yeah, so Tommy, we hope you get well soon, get free soon. I know your booty hole is probably.
Oh my God. Can we get free Tommy t-shirts?
Yeah, we should.
We should. Free Tommy.
But we got to get it with like a grease ball. I guess we could just superimpose the Reface app that he made with Razor Ramon.
Go. Oh my God. Did you see all those last night?
I did.
So they even made one for Dina as Miss Elizabeth. How funny is that? They made your brother Virgil. They turned your brother black.
Can I say that? Did I see Jimmy in there as one of the
Jimmy was like Ted DiBiase, I think. Like they made him the $1 Million Man, which by the way, we all know Jimmy's swimming in it. So that actually kind of works, you know.
But yeah, Tommy's away.
Tommy's away.
It's going to be an issue for us to get recorded on the times that we need to, because he's in Indiana, I'm here, and it makes sense for us to just incorporate more. It keeps Tommy in the fold, and he knows wrestling, and it gives me a break on days where I don't have to talk wrestling.
So as far as soon as I released that last night, I got texts from so many people like, yo, who's hosting? You need a host? I got a host. Let's host. So what we've decided to do for all you pro wrestling people out there is I'm going to be doing, or I'll be the one producing it. I'll probably have a voice on it.
I'm probably going to get a text from Tommy because we haven't even really fully talked about this. He's probably watching right now and is like, wait, what?
We're folding? I'm fired?
No,
where do I go?
No,
I'm going to jail?
I think the writing has been on the wall and he should understand what's happening here. And I do. It is what it is.
Yeah,
we all have lives, families.
So the professional wrestling podcast that we're going to have, it'll probably be like a Chop Sports Wrestling Roundtable, and it's going to be hosted by myself and a million other people. You know what I mean? I would love nothing more than a talk shop with a lot of our guys, and a lot of these guys are coming out of the woodwork a little bit. Didn't know half of you guys are wrestling fans, but all of a sudden you're like, I'll do it, and I'm like, oh, it's funny. You're such a, you have no. I had no idea
I'll still completely make fun of it and talk shit.
I want you on there and talk about the head shrinkers.
I could talk about the early 90s wrestling, and even the NWO era that everybody's seemingly still obsessed with, including myself, obviously. But
we are the Chop World Order. Too sweet me, everybody.
Yeah,
right now.
But it's going to be fun. You know,
it's gonna be a good podcast. I think it's gonna be.
I'll make fun of the wrestling aspect of it in good taste, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
The MMA, I'm obviously.
Listen, I'll call it how it is.
End all be all with MMA knowledge.
I'll call it how it is, man. I haven't watched an episode of Monday Night Raw in like 2 months, and that's not like me. But when football season's here, it's like I don't care if it's the Jaguars playing the Texans on Monday Night Football. I'm watching that game over what I'm watching on wrestling. I will tell you, on Wednesday nights, I'm definitely tuned in to AEW because half the guys that are on the roster, I know. They're friends of mine, or I've known them in the business. Shout out to the bunch of those guys. MJF, of all people, one of the nicest dudes in the world, comes off as a prick. But anyway, so more podcasts, the better. We're all gonna get involved in that. But so the Chopheads MMA podcast didn't release today. But what we'll do on this podcast in particular today, and I'm just gonna make this judgment call right now, is that we're gonna release this segment on the Chopheads MMA podcast feed today. So I'll do that. I'll take care of that. I'll clip it up. We'll get it done because we're going to preview UFC 269 right now, as a matter of fact, because there is a banger of a card coming to you Saturday. So if you're one of those guys that could stay up late, because those UFC cards, man, they're getting worse as far as like the timing.
Bro,
like the main event goes off at like 10 to 1. And I'm like, you can
make it through on a Saturday night, bro. Come on. It's
a
big fight. This is a big fight.
How many kids are running around your house? How many kids are keeping you up crying? I'm sorry. What was that?
I'll make
your whole family's up at that time.
I'll make a bet right now that you watch that fight.
I'll get it done. Even if I have to liquor up for a little bit or just kind of, get a little toasty. Speaking of toast, we'll talk about him in a second. But anyway, big fight. This is the main event, obviously. Dustin Poirier taking on Charles Oliveira. This is close as far as the odds. It's not that big of if you're going to bet. I don't think this is the odds are the right way. Poirier's got to be the underdog.
He is Poirier's favorite. What are you talking about?
He's favored as a challenger.
I'll get into why. Just because this guy's got the belt, Dustin Poirier is the real champion. He didn't even. Okay. The reason why Oliveira got the opportunity to fight is because Poirier decided to take the money and fight Conor to begin with.
Conor, he'll be watching.
Yeah. So this is to me. I don't even think the odds are what they should be. I think that Oliveira is getting a little too much credit. He is very dangerous.
The guy walking around with the sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, but look, he's. There's no reason to not like Charles Oliveira. I can promise you that he's a very decent dude. You would like him. He's just Brazilian and he's a little bit different.
So you're saying I don't like him because he's Brazilian?
No, I'm saying you don't like him because he wears sunglasses and he might have acted a little bit different. But when you really get to know who he is as a guy, he's a legit stand-up guy. He has nothing bad to say about any of his opponents ever. He just goes in there and he just treats it like a job, goes in, fights, and leaves. And right now, it took him a while to get a title shot, bro. I'm looking at his wins. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be his 9th. He's going for a 9-fight win streak right now. It takes these guys a long time sometimes to get their title shot. And honestly, when he fought Chandler, I didn't think Chandler deserved the title shot. It was really should have been Gaethje against Poirier right then for the belt. Chandler was on like his second fight in the UFC, beating Dan Hooker. And Oliveira, if you look at the guys he's beat, it's actually, wait, I counted the wrong. Oliveira is actually on a 10-fight win streak right now. But
fun times.
It's Chandler, Tony Ferguson, who was 900 years old, and Kevin Lee, who's now off the roster. But before that, Jared Gordon, Nick Lentz, David Tamer, Jim Miller. I couldn't even pronounce this other guy's name, and then Clay Guida. So his path to the title, while it's been consistent, he's got a lot of wins. He doesn't have the pedigree of fighters on his resume that Dustin Poirier does.
Kyle Kerm's chiming in. Charles Oliveira is a complete fraud, and he thinks that it's going to be a complete dismantle job.
I don't think that he's definitely not a complete fraud. He's very, very outmatched standing up, 100%. You saw in the first fight, in Oliveira's title fight with Chandler. Chandler touched him early, almost knocked him out in the first round. So Oliveira is extremely hittable. He does have decent boxing. But Dustin Poirier has been in the fire against the best in the world for the last 10 years. He's been at the top of the game. If you look at Dustin Poirier's resume, it's Conor, Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis.
He's fighting the who's who.
So he's fighting the who's who.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minus 180, I think he easily cleans him out in this one. Dustin Poirier has been the rightful champion in my eyes since Khabib retired. It was his belt at that point. His last loss was against Khabib and Eddie Alvarez. So it's not like he's out there losing to bad guys. I don't even think it's going to be close. Kyle is right. It's about the fact that Dustin's going to walk through him, but he's wrong in the sense that Oliveira is a fraud. He's legit. If that fight goes to the ground, within 1 second, it could be over because he's got the best jiu-jitsu by far in the 155-pound division.
I might actually
far.
I might. You might have to take over all operations come Monday morning because I think Saturday morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to train jiu-jitsu on Saturday morning. Am I getting myself into just? I've done it once. I threw up 3 times.
Baby steps, Dave.
I mean, look, I think the problem I had last time is I took pre-workout before I did that.
Definitely a bad move. And
I didn't know. I was like,
here's my next question. All right, you're definitely going to be throwing up.
Yeah, no, I did last time. I'm okay with that.
But my advice would be to just take straight jiu-jitsu. I think a lot of people make the mistake of going into this when they're going to train and they're like, oh, I'm going to take an MMA class. Like, no.
No, I don't want
to. One thing.
It's Jason. I told Jason, I was like, look, Jay, I don't want to get punched around. Like my head is mush as it is. That's why I had to retire from professional wrestling. Okay. My head is a complete mush job. I don't want to get punched. I don't want to spar. I don't want any of that. And then he goes to me. It was funny. It was like a DM exchange. And I said to him, I was like, bro, I just want to be able to be flexible. I want a good workout. I want to sweat. I want to learn the bag. I want to heavy bag it up. You know, do the, like Rocky and shit, right? I want to do all that, right? And jiu-jitsu. And he goes, I didn't even say jiu-jitsu at all. I was like, I just want to work the heavy bag. I want to like just break, big time sweat and buckets. I want to get, leaner and all that shit, right? And he goes, I'll teach you some jiu-jitsu just in case you're out one day and you need it. And I'm like, where do you think I go where I just have to be like, in case anybody here in this Wawa sneaks up on me, I'm going to have to know how to break his clavicle in about like a second.
I'll tell you what, the first thing that jiu-jitsu will do in a situation like that is whether you use it or not, it's going to give you like a calm. A calm will come over you when you are in a situation that typically would make you
panic and like I'm being choked out. Like, holy shit, what do I do?
Not even that. Just like before anything even engages, like you have a different confidence about situations. You look at situations a little bit differently.
Head on a swivel.
I'm not saying that from personal experience because I get choked out by mostly anybody that's advanced in jiu-jitsu.
Who's not named Dave Corbo.
But yeah, like let's not go there right now. I he still has my drill. We'll just say that. All right.
I love Corbo.
And honestly, man. To be fair, I did push-ups for 6 weeks.
That was a
leading
fun
up to
time.
That potential jiu-jitsu
guys.
Match.
If you're not aware of this,
I haven't done a fucking push-up since.
But I have to rediscuss this. Like Dave Corbo and Jason, the guy who wants to spar with me and shit. They used to have a podcast, Dave and Jay versus the World. It was great. It was funny, and they were literally right next door. But there was a week where they were talking about getting into a bar fight, or they were talking about one of the not Ohio State.
There was
some college
an
kid,
Oklahoma kid that got beat up by
choked
an MMA
out.
Fighter.
Right, somebody got choked out, and then they said, what if Dave and Sturch and Gooch want to cross up, and like all of a sudden Corbo got like big boned real quick, and he was like, I would choke out Gucci in a heartbeat. And I was like, and then we all heard this, and I was like, well, why did he say that? So for the next week. First of all, Gooch you were unable to talk to him. He was doing push-ups at any point of the day.
It wasn't even
He was
that.
ready to spar in the lobby.
It was like the whole thing was like we had just met, bro. That's not the energy you're bringing into a situation with men. Oh, hey, I'll choke you out. It's like, well, now you're going to fucking see me Tuesday. You might have to.
It was such an awkward time. It really was. It was like very strange. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna throw.
And now they're gone.
See,
it has nothing to do with that.
I
rose above that situation. I felt, but it did bother me. I have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's like, if me, you, and X-Man, whoever he is, right, is like sitting there and we're talking about fighting, and then one guy's like, Dave, I would knock you the fuck out like right away. I'd be like, oh really? Okay, cool. And then for the next couple of days, I'd be like, okay, son, just ready to square up, at any point of the time. I digress.
That's like the Ultimate Fighter house, but we're at Chop Studios. We're not trying to fucking get
This is true.
Out.
This is true. No chokeouts. There is another fight that we have to talk about, but the reason why I bring this one up, because I don't think it's going to be close, is another Nunes fight, which she's won the last, 50 fights in a row. She's just crushing the competition, but my God, like minus 900, you have to bet $900 to win $100. This is insane. That means she's gonna mow through this chick. It's gonna be it's not gonna be watchable, and I truly hope that Oliveira and Poirier,
like there's no way that I'm gonna pick Juliana Pena, but she does have really good wrestling, and I'm just gonna try and be devil's advocate here.
You want to just throw money on just because, or
no? What I'll say is that I do think that Pena has the skill set to take the distance, because honestly, Nunes in fights more recent than not, she hasn't really had the killer instinct. It seems like she's kind of coasting through. She knows she could beat these women, and she's I wouldn't say floating them, but she doesn't have that killer instinct. If you look, the last 3 fights, I don't think she has any finishes, maybe one. But when she has the big fight, like that big fight with Cyborg, then she's bringing it a little bit different. That in this fight, there's a chance that she gets taken down and loses a couple rounds just by being on bottom, because Pena really does have good wrestling. I'm trying to be, like I said, fairly
you're being nice right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice, but I don't think that there's any chance Nunes loses this fight at the end of the day. I just don't think that she's going to finish her. So if I'm going to bet on this, I'm not going to bet either one of those odds. I'm going to try and pick the round or the method, and I would go for the Amanda Nunes by decision and see what the odds are. You'll probably improve them a little bit, but even that's probably what they think is going to happen.
It's not something you would want to bet because you're not going to win any money.
Yeah, you can't even throw that in
what you can do is follow the pick pish, because she'll be making her picks. And what I tell you, remember, don't pick them all. Pick the ones you know. Don't go picking 19 fights in a row, because that's how you lose. You start chasing the money. Give me some methods. Give me some, you know what I mean? Those are the ones that these people, these I'm not going to call them degenerates, because I'm going to be gambling on it too. But these people, that's how you get paid out. If you think that, if you're so certain, why did I sound like I was from Minnesota on that one? Oh. So certain. When you're so certain that somebody's going to win by A, knockout, B, whatever, put your money there instead of like stacking 4 fights in a row in a parlay and then like doing what I do and losing one of them and wanting to punch a hole through a wall. But there are 2 fights other than these 2 that I really want to like not dive into, but I'm a big Cody Garbrandt guy. Love him. I met Cody in my scuffle in backstage where Usman almost killed us all.
Oh, it's funny that you like him when I think he's such a dork. Can't help it. I think it's all put on with Cody.
Really?
Yeah, I've just never been a fan.
Really? He's hard to not like. Like the other guy, when he started, who is it that you were like was a big dork? Big
Michael
dork.
Chandler,
right? So like after all of his motivational quotes, like he's one of those guys like, I'm just gonna go into this fight, give it 110%. Like no shit.
I started to dislike Cody throughout the Dominic Cruz beef, where it was just like so emotional and he was so attached to it. And then the whole TJ thing, I felt like he was trying way too hard to bring hatred and trying too hard to sell the fight. And he's just not a good shit talker, because you could tell he's getting angry. And in situations where he was on The Ultimate Fighter, where he kept falling in the pool and his hair was wet, and you could just see the type of, I'm being like a psychological. It is very psychological right here. I'm trying to notice certain things and observe.
Go in on him, drag him through the mud. Go ahead.
Where every time his hair got wet, he got so uncomfortable to be on camera with his hair down, and he kept fixing it and he's like, "Stop putting the camera on me." It was very weird. I don't know. I don't like
guy
Cody.
Likes his hair.
I think that he's kind of a fraud in the way he carries himself on camera.
Not nice at all. But anyway, he's gonna win. He's minus something, but he's got Kai Kara France. Know anything about this guy?
Yeah.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's very good. He was also an Ultimate Fighter contestant. He might have actually been on the season that Conor was against Uriah Faber. I think that was the season that he was on. And he's come a long way. He managed to build it. This is a typical guy where, Dave, remember how I was saying before how I really don't like covering fighters unless they crack the top 10.
Right.
And like Kai Kara France is a prime example of a guy that maybe 2 years ago I would never consider having a conversation about. But right now he's on a nice little run. He's got himself a big fight against a guy that's got a big name, and he could put himself with the title contention in a stacked division. These smaller guys, man, they don't have any other sports to play professionally. So you get the best athletes in the world at 125, at 135 in MMA.
I still can't get over that there's males out there that weigh 125 pounds. To me, that's just like, well, do you eat at all?
Well, there's a couple aspects of this. Ready?
120. There's a couple I weighed that when I was in high school.
Don't think for 1 second that any of these guys are actually walking around anywhere near that weight.
But why would you even want to cut to that weight? Well, think about it. You get blown away with the wind
for a professional athlete job. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like if you're walking around at a certain weight, say you wrestle in high school, right? And you're really good. And then you go to college and the coaches are like, well, this is where we want you to wrestle at. So you keep your weight down typically through your career, through your life. And then all of a sudden now you're an MMA fighter. You're not going to go be like, let me go fight the big guys. No, you're no.
What I think I mean is like, all right, it's one thing to weigh that. But then like, if you think about it, like the power behind your punch, I feel like is never going to, you're not going to see as many starchings in those lower divisions.
And you don't, but you see high energy fights. You see a lot of action.
I want the blood. I want
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, getting knocked out
sucks.
It has a lot to do with like the force behind it, but some of it's just the timing
on the button
and where you get hit.
Yeah.
when you get hit.
Yeah.
So there is knockouts in all divisions and all male MMA, female MMA. So that has nothing to do with it. Honestly, it's just a higher skill level out there. When you see two big guys fighting, it's usually a slugfest, but there's not high level grappling involved whatsoever. There's not good footwork. Not that there's not good footwork, but you could just tell
what I
the
want
difference.
to work on too. Footwork. I want some pep in my step. I want Rocky 3 vibes where you're just like, you can't teach this guy because he's not a colored fighter. Remember that quote? Like he doesn't have the moves.
I don't know
he's
if
an Italian dude.
Should that be taken the way it was said? Like when he said colored, the colored
guys
fighter?
are better. In that gym was full of athletes, and Rocky comes in there walking like he had 2 left feet, and that's when Paulie's like, you can't teach him like this because he can't bounce around. He doesn't have the athleticism that all the black dudes have.
That's where I was going with it. That's where I was like, is that actually a thing from Rocky? I wasn't blaming you.
I'm just
I was
blaming
fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Are you actually in 2021 referring to him as colored? No, I'm not. I quoted the movie, for the love of God. Amber's walking out of here today like, yeah, it was fun. I don't ever want to cover you guys again.
Kyle says that him and Scoop are going to have an oil wrestling match, but the weight class is at 145. So they both have their work cut out for them.
Kyle's out.
And he goes, I won't wrestle at
145 on the left side of his
I won't
body.
wrestle at 160. It's unfair to me. That's what Kyle said. That's fucking gold right there.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. One more fight. Sugar Show. Sugar Show, your boy's back.
I don't have the odds here. Do you got the odds on this?
No, I decided not to look at the odds because I started to not like him after he started hanging out with 6'9" guy. What's his name?
Takashi 6'9".
That one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
is what it
you
is.
guys are both losers.
The way I look at it is these guys are all out there trying to just build their brand a little bit more.
That is the worst way to do that.
Yeah, but
Didn't he just got like caught with bad shit? 6'9" guy?
All right, look, he's a rapper and this guy's got a fighter. And they both have pink hair from time to time. So to me, if you look at it, I don't care what a lot of these guys do outside the ring. It's the fight game, Dave. Like Conor McGregor, could you really get behind what he's doing? No, but if he's fighting, guess what? I'm going to watch and I'm probably going to be on Team Conor.
I love
for
Conor
that
McGregor.
Right?
I think he's a psychopath. I think somebody needs to lock his Twitter. You know, somebody needs to like change his
Someone
password
needs to
to
take
throw
away
his phone.
his pills,
Those
and
two,
the booze or whatever
right.
the fuck he's got.
His
going
Prop
on
12. Take that shit
all
away.
over the place. But guess what? When he fights, he's going to sell out the arena. There's going to be 150 billion.
Right before we go to
pay-per-view buys.
break, gun to your head. Conor's next fight, title fight, yes or no?
No way.
Okay.
No way.
I'm just asking.
No.
Just asking. He is the draw. He is on his comeback tour right now. He's trying to get back into the game. Would he come in as a contender where he would fight for a title?
There's no
All
way.
right, so gun to your head again. Who's Conor's return fight?
Either Nate.
I would love
Probably somebody easier than Nate. Even
Gotta be
maybe
Nate. That would be so much
maybe
fun.
Tony Ferguson. Unfortunately,
Nah,
like yeah,
that
you
that
say,
doesn't do it for me.
It doesn't do it for me, but it's going to be an easy win. Did the Conor against Donald Cerrone do it for you?
Yeah, I love Cowboy.
But did that fight?
He's a bum, according to
did that fight matchup
AJ.
do it for you?
No,
No.
With the shoulders and shit.
Yeah,
no, it didn't do it. For
So
me.
I could see Conor getting an easy fight. Maybe not an easy fight in terms of, obviously Tony Ferguson's a game opponent, but he hasn't looked himself, obviously, for the last 5 years.
I want the trilogy.
39.
Absolutely want the trilogy with Nate and Conor.
I don't think that Nate's going to do it. I just don't think Nate will take
you don't
that
think
fight
you would take
right
that
now.
money, bro? Because Dana would be like, hey, man, here's all this. Go out there and do your thing.
How about this?
Not win, not lose, just do your thing.
I don't think Nate is going to get a legitimate offer from the UFC for 2 years. I don't think that we're going to see much of Nate Diaz at all. And this is typically what happens when you're on the last fight of your UFC contract.
So he's got one more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and
he doesn't want to schedule.
He doesn't want to re-up right now. He wants to become a free agent for obvious reasons.
Now,
the boxing
do these have term lengths, or it's just fight?
It's fight.
So he's got one fight left on his contract.
So here's how
he has to stay. He's under contract until he fights.
Here's how the UFC operates within their contracts. Now I know that Nate Diaz has different contract than typical fighters. He's one of the guys. Him and his brother negotiated a pay-per-view cut.
Smart dudes, despite their looks.
Even though you're not a title holder. But basically what it is the UFC has to offer you 3 fights a year. Whether you take them or not is up to you. Dana White is very, very smart in the way he offers these fights because he knows the way Nate is. He'll offer him 3 fights against 3 guys that he knows for a fact Nate's not going to take the fight. So they'll be in a standoff and Nate's going to be like, I'm not fighting Khamzat. He's too dangerous of a fight for me to fight at this point in the career, just for him to build a name off.
That's the Khabib guy? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the guy with the cleft palate. The other,
he would kill.
He's from Chechnya, so he's also a complete robot, cyborg, right? All he does is wrestle and eat dirt at this point. right? So
that's how he does it.
You don't want Nate Diaz doesn't want to take that fight. He doesn't want to come off like a bitch and say, I'm not fighting that guy. So he develops these other reasons why. And honestly, they do have merit when I think about it. Nate should get a guy that has a name, and it should be like a nice going away party. Maybe even another Masvidal fight. Maybe I would say Conor, but at the end of the day, Tony Ferguson, I'd like to see, because we've never seen a Tony versus Nate fight. So give us that on their way out. And then let's go see Nate beat up one of Jake Paul or Logan Paul, and then
I would love
make a ton
that,
of money.
Boy. Oh,
maybe
I love
come
that.
back to MMA, but maybe not. I
Did
don't
you
really
see?
need to see more.
Man, first of all, O'Malley is minus 340 to win that fight, so you're not going to be winning much there. Did you see right before break? We'll go to break in a second. Did you see? Is Tyson fighting Jones again? Did you see that?
Wait, what?
Tyson and Jones again? Or did I miss something?
Tyson,
like Mike Tyson,
and
like Roy Jones Jr. to do it again.
Something.
Did I read the wrong? Like, I don't know. Maybe I saw. I don't know.
I haven't seen that. I think Frank Gore's fighting this weekend.
Frank Gore is. That's this weekend.
Is it this weekend?
No, that's
next weekend.
It's got to be next. Woodley coming back to fight Paul. That's on the same card.
Yeah, it's the next weekend.
Next weekend.
Yes,
so that we'll talk about more next week with some guests. To talk about that.
I did see that Chael Sonnen made a post yesterday and saying it was the first time in his entire life that he was offered a fight and he turned it down. Do you know who that person was?
Wait. Time out. Chael Sonnen was offered a fight to come out of retirement. Dude, I would have loved. See, I'm a man, but the American gangster from
when
Portland.
When you hear the name, he said it on his podcast and he was kind of making a joke about it as to why he turned down the fight.
I'll tell you who it was. It was Vanderlei Silva.
It was Frank Gore. So he was like, yeah, I'm not going to go and fight a football player.
So boxing, not an MMA fight.
Yeah.
UFC didn't hit him up. Bellator didn't hit him up.
No, sir.
Triller hit him up and said, hey, Chael, come on.
I'm actually surprised he turned it down because he would have made a boatload of money. Right. And he would.
Isn't Frank Gore fighting the former net?
Darren Williams.
Right.
But the reason why I think, the real reason why I think he turned it down, and it's probably smart because he might have gotten knocked out by Frank Gore. Frank Gore could box. Apparently.
Does Frank Gore have any boxing?
No, but but when you look at a guy like Frank Gore, he played in the NFL.
All-time leading rusher in the NFL.
He played I think he's third.
He's up there. Might be.
Either way, he played in the NFL for
20 years.
81 years at the hardest position in the league to play. And he obviously made it by doing what? By training. His off season. You know what he did in his off seasons every
year?
Box.
Run up mountains.
He's been boxing for apparently 81 years because that's how long he's been in the NFL.
That's a lot of time.
So 81 years of training, I think that he's probably a decent boxer.
3. That's a lot of experience. All right, let's go to break. When we come back, we got some NFL Week 14 action starting tonight. The Steelers, the Vikings, a lot of stuff going on with those guys. We'll be right back.
Myself and Gooch are both getting a little older. One of the first things to go is your vision. Thank goodness for our hookup over at Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, right on Main Street next to the train station. They have glasses for all ages, all budgets. They have safety glasses, sports glasses. They are a full-service powerhouse offering eye exams and even free lenses for the kids. They work with BCBS, AAA, AARP, giving massive discounts. They're open 5 days a week, closed on Wednesdays and Sundays. Call 732-326-3937 to get your first pair of Ray-Ban, Burberry, Coach, Polo, you name it, they got it. Go see Craig and Johnine right now.
Take anything we want. Welcome back to the show. It is Sturch, it is Gooch, it is the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio in Matawan, New Jersey. We have ourselves a football game here tonight, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming off another big win over who the hell they beat last week?
The Ravens.
I don't know why. It was Jim Harbaugh's decision, all that garbage. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming back. I say, who did I say?
Jim.
Because I like Jim more. I like Jim Harbaugh more than I like John Harbaugh.
You might be the only person on earth.
Nobody likes Jim Harbaugh. I love this guy. Maybe not as the coach of Michigan. I like the way he played.
I don't necessarily like him or dislike him for that matter, but I definitely like John Harbaugh more than Jim. Much better guy.
Imagine if they played in the Super Bowl against each other. They did already. I know. I was just kidding.
Coached.
Yeah, right?
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think John ever played. Jim did. Anyway, I digress. The Vikings are playing, coming in 3.5-point favorites at home, which to me, bro, that kind of surprises me. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't foresee that being a legitimate thing. I mean, we'll make our picks at the end of this, but dude, with all the stuff these guys have got going on right now, the Vikings lost Thielen. They got Dalvin Cook coming back with a bum shoulder. That's a big deal, and Kirk Cousins, breaking news, He stinks. So like I don't like Kirk Cousins here. I don't even like him at home. The biggest thing about the Steelers is their defense, because their offense is always kind of slow to get started. Najee Harris, I feel like, has a big game tonight. I got a good feeling about that. I hope Deontay Johnson has a good game for my fantasy implications, because this is the last week, folks. If you don't make a push tonight, you're gonna miss the fantasy playoffs. But I put myself in a position to try to get in 3 leagues. So anyway, yeah. So I don't like the spread here. I don't think it's justified at all, considering they lost their number one gun. Some people can say that Justin Jefferson is the number one guy, but even with a banged up running game, and the Vikings not doing well as of late. They did just lose to the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, shout out to CBS again, who decided one more time to make that unpaid intern do all that work and figure out the ways that the Lions can make the playoffs at 6-10-1. Stop it. Just stop. Just stop.
Well, they play Green Bay week 18. So that's
there you go. There's your 11th loss at the very least. But anyway, what do you feel? How you feeling about this one? Because I said, Cousins
on the fact that I'm not a fan of this point spread. I really don't. I don't like either team jumping off it doesn't jump out to me either way. But when I look at the matchups, honestly, you're right about one thing, that Minnesota doesn't do well against the run. And I think that you're going to get a lethal dose of Najee Harris in this one. And I also think that Minnesota's playing desperate. You say Kirk Cousins stinks. I think that he has a chance to expose Pittsburgh's secondary, which is not that great, I don't think.
No, dude. Come on.
What, is Pittsburgh's secondary even playing lights out? I don't
not
think
lights out, but I mean, like, they're not.
And here's why. Here's why. Because everybody's looking at the loss of Thielen as a big thing. And honestly, it is. It's a big thing. But when you see KJ Osborne get the opportunities this year, he's come through. Look at last week when I know that Minnesota lost, but he did have himself a nice, efficient game in I guess he started second half because Thielen got hurt.
Yeah.
So basically, I just like the fact that they have a guy that could step right in. I don't think the offense really misses a beat. Pittsburgh's defense has been up and down, and they've had a lot of close games of late. They haven't played an offense like Minnesota, though. And I know that people are down on Kirk Cousins, but I'm just saying, look at the numbers, look at the rating, look at the efficiency this year. Kirk Cousins is actually having a really good season. If you take away a couple of these guys, and I know that I say this in jest in some way, that Kirk Cousins' numbers actually reflect MVP numbers. If you look at some of the guys in previous years who have won the MVP award, he actually has really good numbers this year.
His touchdown to interception ratio is pretty good.
It's really good. It's really not pretty good. It's really good.
I know.
And now, honestly, to be fair, the Packers got 3 picks taken off the board in one game. I'm sure that's happened throughout the season with Cousins. But besides that, Minnesota's desperate. They had a really big win against Green Bay, and they've kind of just hit the downslide.
They were desperate. Gooch, they were desperate last week against the Detroit Lions.
I understand, but every team right now that we're going to see, like, this game has major playoff implications. I lean towards the home team in that situation. They are given 3.5. I wish it was 2.5, and I'd be a lot more comfortable with it. I'm probably not going to bet this game besides the over. I love the over because I do think, like I said, Minnesota is going to expose Pittsburgh's secondary, and I do think that Pittsburgh is going to be able to run the ball whenever they want against Minnesota. So I like a lot of offense, and it's a low enough number where I think that hits.
Big stat coming in here from AJ Basco, and these two teams are second and third on conversion percentage. On third down, teams are both second in third down conversions over the past 3 weeks. So it looks like they're both going to be able to move the ball. And look, there's the ratio right there. Kyle Kerm's coming in. Cousins has 25 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That's fine, guys. I'm totally on board with his statistics, right? I'm on board with that. But I say it again.
Your pick is the Steelers?
Absolutely.
My pick is the Vikings.
Absolutely.
So let's go.
And, dude, I'm telling you right now, I don't give a shit what his stats are, right? He is not winning games. He had the Detroit winless Lions last week and couldn't get it done in a dome.
So we're talking
can't
about
blame the weather.
If we're going to sit here,
we're
going to sit and talk about quarterback matchups. You're talking about still Cousins?
Yeah.
Look at Big Ben, bro. I'll show you some footage.
Dude, when you're watching Big Ben, it's like slow motion. I get it.
It's bad. They're going to hand the ball off every play.
Najee Harris is going to have himself a day, and Benny Snell going to get involved today. Watch. And you know what? Not for nothing, out of nowhere, I don't know if you've actually paid attention to the Steelers a lot. I have, in particular.
Well, I hope you're right.
Because Ken Paulman won't let me not.
I hope you're
pay
right because I'm going to
Steelers.
bet the over.
Huh?
So I hope you're right. I hope Benny Snell shows up. I hope Deontay Johnson shows up.
I was getting to my point.
You get points.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Freiermuth,
Freiermuth,
him, tight end. he's moving up the ranks for me.
Oh, yeah.
As far as a tight end
I said
in
it
the
a
NFL.
couple of weeks back that honestly, top 5 dynasty tight end. If you're doing fantasy football dynasty leagues, Freiermuth is a guy that you want to keep your eye on.
I mean, what the
sure.
Steelers are going to do in the future without Ben, I don't know. I don't think the successor is on this team right now. That's for sure. I don't think that's a thing. But in this game, where the Steelers know what kind of division they're playing in, you know, they have to battle with Cleveland on the right below them, but right above them, you know, you got the Bengals who just tripped up. You got the they got tripped up and starts by the Chargers. You also have who's got a banged up Joe Burrow. You got the Ravens who just got tripped up as well. The Steelers have a chance right now to kind of establish that, like, yo, hey, we're here and we're not going away. Just like we always talk to Jimmy about the Steelers and the Ravens and those teams that are like never bad. They're never bad at football. And I think the Steelers tonight go on the road and they take care of business. And Kirk Cousins, by the way, I don't know if you all statisticians out there, Kyle and AJ, if you want to go look this up, go look up Kirk Cousins' numbers in prime time.
Yeah, no, that I agree with that. There is one other number, though, I will mention, and this has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that Minnesota's in every game that they play this year. They haven't been blown out. Every single loss, they have 7 losses. They're all within 1 score. So they're not. Minnesota's a better football team than their record says. And I said that going into 2 weeks ago when we were playing them. And obviously I was trying to sugarcoat the fact that we lost a little bit, but I was saying that prior to the game, that going on the road to Minnesota isn't necessarily an easy task. Minnesota's desperate. They're home. I still like Minnesota. You could say whatever you want.
Ken Paulman says that Aaron Rodgers is going to look great in the black and yellow next year. Anything to that? Do you think there's any chance?
I say the same thing when you say that Dallas is going to beat Green Bay in Green Bay.
Well, that's going to happen. So like, just get over it.
Like you guys you don't even believe that yourself, and Ken, you also don't believe that yourself. That's not going to happen. You're better off leaning towards like Minshew mania or something, because I could see that.
What does that even mean, Dave? If Dak was on Minnesota, would you have that same energy? What does that mean? Dak Prescott's a way better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Way better.
I mean, if you look at the numbers this year, I wonder.
Here we go with the numbers again. We win football games. The Cowboys are 8-4, and the Vikings are on the brink of losing their season. So who's the better quarterback here? Because guess what? I don't know if anybody noticed. Quarterback-driven league.
I'm not sitting here and trying to cape up for Kirk Cousins in any way, shape, or form.
I know. I'm just saying you hate him is.
I'm just saying in a vacuum, you look at numbers. If we do that player A, player B thing, Kirk Cousins got a good year, having a really good year. Say what you want.
Yeah, so Scott's saying, cut him a break because it's a team sport. Dude, Kirk Cousins is the reason why, like, as much as his numbers are good in the clutch, you got to come up with these situations.
I would say that the guy to blame most in this situation is their head coach,
Mike Zimmer. Yeah, I would say so too.
And it's not that he's a bad coach. It's just that he's not.
It ain't working.
Yeah, like that message is done. It expired. Correct. They need to hear somebody else.
As a defensive-minded coach, as Zimmer is, who has won Super Bowls with Dallas as their defensive coordinator way back in the prehistoric times when the Cowboys were relevant, like that was their guy, and he's a defensive guy. And for the fact that the Vikings can't play defense right now, that's kind of embarrassing. Also, you lose to the Lions. That's embarrassing.
Dalvin Cook is probably going to play as well.
Oh, he's definitely playing. No, they said he's definitely playing, but with a separated shoulder, I think he's like 10 days removed from separating his shoulder. So how much of the load is he going to get? Pause. Like I don't understand. Like Madison will probably get the carries.
Separated shoulder?
Huh?
Separated shoulder. There's degrees. It's not dislocated. A lot of people, when you hear separated shoulder, you think that it popped out of the socket. That's not at all what happens.
Oh, what do you think? He's Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon?
No,
just put it on the post.
A separated shoulder. You have 2 bones that meet right here.
I know how the shoulder works.
There's a tendon. Right. So when it separates, all it does is it separates for a second. It stretches the tendon out. And that's the pain, is that stretch. But typically it goes right back. So you're not really dealing with a displaced thing. It's just like you're sore. When the soreness goes away, you're good to go.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gucci. And
had separated shoulders before.
Have you?
Yeah.
I have not. My dad's got like this one shoulder. He said that just would pop out because it was a Thursday. Like that's like no matter what, it was just like
that's not a separated shoulder. He dislocated his shoulder. Yeah,
so it's a whole nother ball.
Everybody gets that mixed up, and I did until I separated my shoulder.
Tomato.
Like, why isn't it dangling? And they were like, "No, you didn't dislocate it."
It's kind of, it's over there on the side. It's on the bench right over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're taking the Vikings. I'm taking the Steelers. It's going to be a great, great night of football. I think it's going to be a very highly competitive game. I will too be taking the over. So score all you want, guys. I don't care what you do. Go score. Tomorrow, Football Friday. From what I gather, it'll be a Football Friday, feel good, sauce, toast, Sturch and Gooch, all in one one area. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a
I'll
party
get
in
here
here.
early and I'll set up the room and try and get the
Let's do it.
semantics
If
all
they're
down.
around and we get to pick some games, obviously Kyle is not going to give away everything. And honestly, I don't think he picks his games on Friday for a Sunday game. So like that, he's just going to kind of probably maybe show us like where he's leaning.
I think that when we do the games on Friday, I think it starts the wheels in motion. Not that he ever needed that because he's always picked the games, but I think that's when he starts getting his ideas because he starts dropping comments and you could kind of see where he's
going. Right.
And then you could also see the ones that he actually knows he's going to put on his VIP because then he shuts up and he doesn't talk at all because he wants, and that's fair.
Yeah. No,
people are paying for that. You don't want to just give it away for free.
Yeah. Don't give it away for free, but maybe he'll make some NBA picks. And Scoop is asking for no Knicks talk. Scoop, that's why we hired you. You do the Knicks talk. You put it on your cross-court cast, which, by the way, is available now because guess who came in early to edit it because you can't figure out technology. No, I couldn't. Actually, I figured out what piece it was there, Scoop, so not on you. Not on you. That's on me. But anyway, that has been another banger of a show, and I hope you guys enjoy the football. I hope you guys make bets responsibly. Don't go losing all your money like I did last night. I'm right back to even money right now, so let's see if I can bounce back. I'm gonna take the Steelers here in the over. I'm gonna ride with that. We'll see what the sauce.
Are you gonna parlay it
Yes.
a rook?
Yes.
So you lost money.
No, I'm kidding. I will not parlay it. I will bet.
You could parlay it.
You know what I'll do? I'll do this. I'll bet the Steelers. I'll bet the over, and then I'll bet the Steelers in the over. Like on a side
That's
little,
fair.
nothing too crazy, a little payout ski, a little lunch money for tomorrow.
2-team parlays are a little safer. It's where I run into issues when I see
Don't you love
people,
when they come back and say like,
doing
I want a 17-team parlay.
You notice how they all these
on.
free bets they do? It's like minimum 4 legs on the parlay. It's because they know it's not going to win. It's that simple.
And I love all these ESPN that like they post on their Instagram like this bet hit, and it was like a $2 bet with like 15 things like on props.
When you're doing a 3-team,
and he turned it into 10
you do a
G's.
3-team parlay, you do a 4-team parlay, and you win 3 out of 4 and you lose money. You shouldn't go 3 out of 4 and lose money. That's just bad gambling. Period. The end.
Well, in case anybody wants to know, and I will be heading over there as soon as I hit end broadcast, the pick for tonight's game from the sauce himself, KyleKerms.com. If you're a subscriber, you're going to get that pick tonight. It's on YouTube. Actually, if it's on YouTube, then it's not. It's free. So there you go. How about that? Kyle, gift that keeps on giving.
His YouTube.
You do have to do that. And you also have to
you don't even
subscribe
have
to ours.
You can just go watch it.
But you know what? I don't have to say this anymore because we got Amber about to build the Christ out of this entire social media thing because that's what she does best. So for Sturch and Gooch, Amber's in the house. And of course, the Pick Bitch and Ashmere Fit, who was once upon a time was in Studio B. I don't know if she's still here or not. It's been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. And we will see you guys tomorrow on a Feel Good Football Friday with sauce and toast. And now I'm hungry. Really, really hungry. Sauce and toast.
The parlay, the Sugar Show, and Dustin Poirier, maybe second round.
Done and done.
TKO.
Okay. Start doing your research there, Dina.
Second round.